Looking for a podcast where sports betting meets reckless optimism, questionable logic, and maybe even occasionally a stroke of genius?
It's the Spread Zone Podcast with Rizzuto, Tim McKernan, and Anthony Stalter. 3 opinions, 0 guarantees. Endless entertainment. Whether you're betting big or just betting lunch, get in the Spread Zone. Find it now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The O-Line Committee Podcast. 16 years of NFL trenches experience. Talking football every week.
You're moving people for 2 weeks to Europe, and you're like, enjoy this. And a lot of them are like, dude, the food here sucks. Can't really do anything because when you get there, they're quick to be like, don't go anywhere, right? Like, mind your business, stay where you are.
The O-Line Committee Podcast with Jay, the Rhino, and Mackie on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We've done this before.
Oh, yeah.
We've done this before.
You know what Rook and I were joking about before you got here today? Today and this week, you can get some pretty good parking spots at Hubbard Broadcasting.
Yes, you can.
The lots are a little empty.
Almost anywhere. I was driving around a bit today, and there's hardly any traffic at all. So, you know what I discovered today, though? I've discovered this in the past, but I never paid attention. I came in from out on 62, and I kind of had time to kill, so I drove across 50th. And you get to Cedar Avenue, and you think you're east. You're not really. There's like 60 blocks of Minneapolis left when you get to Lake Street.
Yes.
It's not as. It's like Center City. It's not. You think you're east, but you're because of Hiawatha's there and all that thing. But you're still a long way from St. Paul when you get there. But that part of Lake Street's kind of nice when you get under past Hiawatha, and then the last 30 blocks or so aren't so bad.
Well, because of the way that they're doing 94 now, for me to get here, I normally take 35 to 94, but now you either have to go all the way up and around and come down 280, or you got to go through downtown. And then
I was a little surprised coming in when I was down to Dundas for the Billy Nelson thing Saturday. They had... You're coming in 35W. Things are going pretty good. They got it cut off at 494. There's a big. You can't. It's not like the ramps are cut off. It's cut off.
Everything.
There's nothing. You got to stop. And then, so I tricked them. I got off at 106th, went over to Xerxes, came back this way.
Okay.
But not too many people, back in the old days.
I'm glad you went down. I was not able to make it. Did they have a good turnout?
Oh, really good. Really good turnout. I got to tell you a great story, though. So, well, first of all, they told us to be short because they had like 10 speakers, and it was an hour and 15 minutes. And there was some fella near the end. I didn't know who he was. But he didn't get the message. Let's put it that way. The guy went for 20 minutes, didn't get a laugh. Any laugh he got was a nervous laugh. Anyway, Billy, but outside of that, there were some great Billy stories and some good buddies of his.
Great guy. I was sad to hear of his passing.
I would say at least 300 people there, maybe 400.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was good. But I yell out one thing I say, and I said, I'm glad to see. In the spirit of competition, there's nobody here representing the Miesville Mudhens. There's nobody from the Miesville Mudhens. And then this guy way up, like he's 50 yards away from me, 60 yards away from me, says, we're here. And I don't want to say that it was because he was a black guy that I knew it was Harry Davis, but I said the only superstar black guy in the history of the Cannon Valley League. So I say, is that you, Harry? But I don't think the crowd realized what an embarrassment. But yeah. He sees a black guy in the stands and he says it's Harry. That's well, I was right. It was Harry, and he came down and we BS'd, and he lives in Owatonna. You saw him play some, though, right, Harry?
I don't think we overlapped.
He was a great center
but I know
fielder.
he was a great player.
Yeah,
I don't think he overlapped.
But it was always funny to go to a game and. Maybe a couple of friends of Harry's were in the stands, and it was all, not a lot of black guys in the Cannon Valley League, but he was a really good player for. I think I read it. He was Played for him for 12 or 13 years. He'd played other places, but he was there for 12 or 13 years from Miesville. But, boy, that ballpark's nice now.
Yeah,
holy cow.
Well, and think about this, too. A year ago, remember how bad the flooding was down there?
I went down there the day that, like on that Saturday, I just drove down there to see how bad it was. And I said, there was just some people hanging around, but it was up to the grandstand, almost coming into the grandstand, over the mound, and still rising. And I said, they aren't going to play a ball game here the rest of the summer. And a month later, they were playing, and it looked nice because I went down then a month later. And that's when I ran into Bill, and I'd heard the rumor that he had pancreatic cancer, but he confirmed it there, and I ended up writing something. But he was a different kind of cat, man. What a competitor! He was back in the Miesville, back in the early years of the rivalry when Bill was there and the other guys. Miesville beat him, and this might have been one class, I don't know, but they weren't taking as many teams to the state tournament. And Miesville wanted to draft. They could still draft then. And Miesville wanted to draft him, and he turned him down. He wouldn't go.
Really? I didn't know that.
He wouldn't go pitch for Miesville. Two of the other guys there, one of the catchers, back then where you could get a catcher and a pitcher. They won the state title with Miesville and had a good old time drinking and partying with them. And Bill, I ain't pitching for those SOBs. I didn't see Juice, though. Juice might have been in the crowd. I didn't see him, but, Mr. Miesville baseball.
You mentioned, though, Billy's competitive nature, and I'll never forget this. And I knew who Bill was, obviously, and he and I had crossed paths before when I used to play and whatnot.
But now when we co-host for the
when we were co-hosting the state amateur tournament in 2022, he came up to me. I think it was the summer of 2020 because we normally play Dundas every year, right? In fact, we were just there a couple weeks ago. And he came up to me and says, I got an idea. And I said, all right. He goes, we're hosting, right? He said, how about we do a banquet?
Yes.
And I said, okay, that'd be good. He goes, we'll invite as many former MVPs to join us. And I thought, well, that's great. But, you don't know how many guys are going to show up. He goes, I'll get every single living member to show up. I said,
didn't Billy, get them all, but he got a lot of them.
I can't believe how many he got to commit to that.
That was great. He got Eisenreich and Steinbeck.
He got Jim Eisenreich to drive up from Kansas City.
Yes, Eisy, I got a column out of it with Eisy driving up, and Steiny was there, and I think they had 40-some, right?
And that was all Billy. My role was help out, get a venue, and MC. That was my job. Mm-hmm. And he did everything else.
Was Billy ever an MVP? Was he ever one of their MVPs?
I don't remember if he was.
I don't think he was. Maybe he could have been. They had so many good players, My favorite one is still Aaron Erickson, though, who was, could make it. He lived somewhere else. But when they won it in 98, he was a third baseman. And he had a real good job in the financial business. And they moved him out to California. They moved him out, he was in California. And when the town ball started, he would get on the red eye in L.A. on Thursday night, come in, play, hopefully 2 games, and get on the red eye Sunday back to L.A. And he was doing that during the state tournament, too. He was... that is commitment. He didn't miss work, but that's a guy who likes his town ball, man. That's pretty good. And he that year had such a great year that he was their
was he
MVP.
their MVP? Yeah.
I think the first time I ever went down there, though, it was still really short in left field.
Yeah.
And they were playing with aluminum bats.
Oh, Pat.
And Big Lou and those guys were just hitting them out into the river.
I pitched against Dundas that summer. Mm-hmm. Let's just say it didn't go very well.
Well, the aluminum bat, the greatest thing the state board ever did, and they haven't done that many great things, was getting rid of the aluminum bat. The games that last forever.
Here's what ended up happening, too, is a lot of these guys that were planning on playing somewhere, well, they didn't want to pitch.
Yeah, right.
Because their ERAs would jump to whatever.
And, and a lot of them were going to... Now, they did lose. When they went back to wooden bats, they lost guys,
Yeah.
Because...
Some of the older guys that...
some of the older guys that... Well, the kid from Cold Spring was great. Lesher, what was his name? He hit 44 home runs the last year of the aluminum at bats, and I think 44, and they won the state title. Yep. They had to win twice in Red Wing. Where they played, I can't remember. They had to, on Sunday or Monday, on Labor Day, they had to win twice.
They might have beat Miesville that year.
That might have been, and the ball was just flying out of the ballpark. How good is that, though, Cold Spring and Miesville? But anyway, then the next year, I think he hit like 6 because it's, and it's the bat.
Yeah.
You're a good hitter when you hit 40 home runs with an aluminum bat.
Well, it was that same game that I was telling you about in Dundas. I think that's the same game when Gunderson retired from the Twins, and he came back and played with us. Yeah. And we're like, all right. Yeah. He showed up. I think it was a 7:00 game. He got there at about 6:45. Yes. He says, I'm ready to go. Yeah, and we thought, all right. His first at bat, he smoked one to the river, damn near cleared the river. We thought, we can use this guy the rest of the summer.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
And then
how much did he play?
He played a handful of games. Because he had buddies on the team. Yeah. But then once the wood bats came into play, we didn't really see Shane around much longer.
I mean, he had enough wood bats. If he wanted to wood bats, he'd still be in a minor
right, exactly.
Who needs that? But, I always said that, when the guys... What cost you more than anything was when the guy had to come home. You're playing slow pitch. It's like the difference between fast pitch softball and slow pitch
100%,
softball.
yeah.
Because, the guy, why doesn't anybody play fast pitch softball? Because they have to come home and tell mom they went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts instead of, I hit 7 home runs. They told me not. You like to come home and tell them how great you were instead of how much you struck out.
Yep.
So. Anyway, okay. Big Game of Flaws issue here. We got it. It was quite.
Is this holiday edition?
And it has only been legislated with the stare I received, not the verbal. But so we went out and watched Lukey's 14-year-old team play baseball in the second game.
Okay.
We missed the first game. They won 14-0. We got there the second game. They lost 17-4. They were awful.
Oh, my.
They couldn't pick it up and throw it to first base. So, anyway. But we had the wife's buggy, so I was driving it, right? And because I knew I was going and blah, blah, blah. And so we get back. And I go to bed 11 o'clock. I missed Scooble, by the way. I missed the Twins' attack against Scooble. But,
that hour and 30-minute affair that it was last night.
And when I get up this morning, like at 6 in the morning, there's a note there. Where are my keys? So the first thing, that I say, well, I would assume to myself, I probably left them in the pocket of because it's a fob,
Sure.
I probably left it in the pocket of my jeans. Can't find my jeans. I look in the washing machine. A load of clothes has been done, and the fob is in the pocket of my jeans, and it doesn't work anymore.
Uh-oh.
It's got drowned. And I'm saying, those jeans were washed Saturday. And a pair of jeans, which is your go-to jeans,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got go-to jeans, right?
Yes.
You don't wash them for another 2 weeks, right?
Oh, heavens no.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks is put, unless you get something on it. You don't wash it. You sure as hell don't wash it the same night you took it out of the thing. So, I don't know if she realized that, but she hasn't screamed at me yet. But she only has one fob left of the vehicle, so instead of 2. What do those things cost? Like $200?
Well, you know what it is. No, you know what it is. It's just the battery inside the fob that needs to be replaced.
Okay, well, we'll have to go.
Because I've done that before. I've washed the fob, and here's the thing. I don't know if it works with your car. It will still work. You just have to hold the fob next to the handle of the vehicle.
I'll try that,
and it should open up the door.
I'll try to get that when I'm home. Otherwise, we'll go to battery.
No, here's what you do. Seriously. Go to Fratelloni's.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll do it for you.
Okay.
I've had them do it for me before.
Okay, so it'll work.
Yes.
Because I was prepared to throw it away. But
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
But anyway, then I'm thinking about jeans.
Okay.
You know, us jean wearers. The mayor couldn't get in on this discussion because he doesn't wear them.
He doesn't wear jeans, no.
It is funny how we all have 6 pairs.
Mochi Health is here to help you start your weight loss journey with caring, personalized support. Meet one-on-one with board-certified obesity doctors and registered dietitians who truly listen and understand your unique needs. Eligible patients can access affordable GLP-1 medications delivered right to their door each month. No insurance? No problem. Mochi Health accepts FSA and HSA, making care accessible and affordable. And with 24/7 customer service, you'll never feel alone on your path to better health. Get started with Mochi Health today. Take the free quiz at joinmochi.com and use code AUDIO40 at checkout for $40 off your first month of membership. That's joinmochi.com with promo code AUDIO40.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cash back really adds up.
But there's a go-to. And then when one of them gets so old or bad, it gets replaced.
It gets replaced by the next go-to pair.
The go-to, but you still keep it just in case.
Yeah.
So you got like 3 or 4 other pair, you know, and there's you wear the blue one, but then you might have a black one and a gray one, and so they never get in the full rotation.
The go-to becomes the emergency backup pair of jeans, yes.
Once in a while. Go-to, but really, there's the one you wear after you buy it for like 3 years, that's the go-to, right?
Yes.
So I think I'll if she stops staring at me so angrily, I'll have to explain to her that we don't want our jeans washed daily.
They don't need to.
They're not going to last very long if you do that. Right. So you know what's hard on jeans though? The cell phone in the back pocket.
Yes, it is. It wears it out.
It's
replaced where the wallet used to be. Yes.
Yes, the cell phone in the back pocket. The other thing is, I don't know why she doesn't, if she's going to wash a pair of my jeans, why she doesn't go through the pockets, because she knows that there's going to be a little bit of cash in there because of the Reusse theory that only a 20 or higher
is going to
gets into the wallet.
That's right.
If it's 1s or 5s or even 10s, they're in the pocket. So I found $17 in the dryer along with a fob that wasn't working anymore. So because she washed the jeans for no good reason, they weren't dirty. So anyway, you don't want to overwash jeans, honey. But
the wear and tear alone, for sure.
No, but I'm not. I'm waiting for the showdown to come on this because I did not get chewed out and screamed at today, which was unusual.
You know, you mentioned the Twins.
But who wins that game of football?
I'm sorry.
I think I win.
I think you're in the right because you know, the pockets were, you didn't, if you had done the laundry, then I think you'd be in the wrong.
If I'd done the laundry, I would have checked the pockets
exactly
before I did the laundry.
But I think because of the fact that she did wash the jeans.
Yes, it's on her. There's no doubt
So I
about
think you're in the right.
Yes.
So I was going to mention the Twins game.
Yes.
Patrick.
How good is this guy?
Well, not only is how good is he. So Will had a continuation game that started in the second because of a rainout. That game took place at 5. And then his coach plays for the Brewers.
Okay.
So Hollingsworth.
Yes.
And so we were going to go by the Brewers game on our way home, grab a burger, whatnot. And I thought, we'll catch the end of the Twins game.
Well over by then. Huh?
We got home before 8, and it was already over.
What was the time?
That's what I was trying to look to see what the time of game was. Because the Twins are finally on Sunday Night Baseball. This will be great.
92 pitches with 13 strikeouts.
Duration of the game was, it says 2:10.
Really?
2:10 on this.
Well, it must have been 8:30 when you got home then. Perhaps I think it started at 6.
Did it start at 6?
It started earlier. I don't know.
Okay.
But
boy, that guy's good.
92 pitches, 13 strikeouts. Unbelievable. One hit, I guess it was a blooper too. I haven't seen it.
What is he going to cost those guys? Are they going to be able to pay him?
I think they're going to. Well, I don't know how. I think he got 2 more years as a free agent, but now's the time to sign him.
For sure.
Before he gets a real one.
Because I know way back, they did sign Verlander, and they didn't sign Scherzer because he signed with
that's when they had the guy they had the 100-year-old man who was trying to win before he
passed away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because is it the same family that still owns the club?
I think they sold, but maybe not. Maybe it is the same family. But what was that guy?
Illich. Wasn't it Illich?
Yeah, Illich. And he was in his 90s.
Okay.
But, he bought it from. They were the Little Caesars guys.
Yes.
And they bought it from the Domino's guy. The Domino guy owned it, Tom Warner. He built Tom got into the religion so strong that he built the Ave Maria town down in the jungle near Naples.
Okay.
The Catholic was going to be a couple of Catholic churches and a place for Catholic families. And I think they had to legally, if a Lutheran wanted to buy a house, he could. But he was really in. He had a spouse die or a kid die or something that really made him religious.
Okay.
He's a great guy, though. I talked to him a couple of times. He's the guy that during the '84 World Series sent in the Domino's helicopter to the Tiger Stadium in the middle of the riot to give the press pizzas as we were all writing on deadline, wondering if we were ever going to get back downtown.
Oh, my.
When the riots were going on outside. And the helicopter came in, and I told you this, and we all said, oh, my God, they're going to airlift us out of here. But it was pizzas.
Well, I guess that'll do.
He brought in a couple of 100 pizzas for the media. So it was Domino's, but what the hell? It was free.
At that point, it's free. You're not going to be picky. Right.
My favorite ever, though, was Galloway. Because you could walk out of the back of the press box and walk up some little steps and be on the roof of the old Tiger Stadium. And so he went out to look at the riot, and he says, "You ain't going to believe this, bleep." So we went out there and looked. They tipped over a cab. It was burning, and there were 20 guys urinating on it. Like they're going to put out the fire, but there was so much alcohol in the urine. It was just
engulfed.
Yeah, it was fantastic, to say the least.
I was watching a piece the other day on the Vancouver riots from 2000.
Oh, yeah.
Was it 2011 when they lost Game 7?
I'd forgotten that.
I did too.
They were violent.
To the point
what was
where
their problem? Did the Canucks led the series or something?
No, it was Game 7 because there was the whole part about the buildup, and Boston jumped out to like a 3-0 lead, so people started getting angry and smashing windows and stuff. And then all of a sudden it just took off because there was one guy that they had, and he had the blurred face, and they changed his voice because he said basically, I've had to be in hiding because if I show my face, I'm going to get arrested and whatever. But
because he was one of the guys who broke windows or something?
Something like that, where he was part of a group that set one of the cars on fire. And I think somebody got really, really burned, or something happened where somebody became disfigured as a result of this. And he said, well, I'll be charged with potential manslaughter. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I forgot how bad that was.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a bad idea for Toronto to always have these people standing.
The viewing parties, yeah.
Because they're always, eventually they're going to urinate it away and get beat. I mean, they beat Florida in was it Florida that handed them their heads?
I think so.
But they just beat them down there. And I don't know who they played Game 7 against. I don't know who they played Game 7 against. I think it might have been Tampa Bay. And I think it was Tampa Bay. And then they come out and puke and get beat 6-1 or something. And by the way,
it was Tampa.
You heard it here first. All right. Nobody else has speculated on this.
Okay.
You heard it here first. McDavid is upset. He wants out.
Okay.
And we got Kaprizov we're going to have to sign.
Okay.
We're going to trade Kaprizov for McDavid.
You think so?
That is my prediction.
Really?
That is my prediction because McDavid wants out. And who else can they get to replace him except Kaprizov?
Why would he want out? They've been to two straight finals.
I don't know. He wants to get out of Canada. He might want to go to Florida and not have to pay tax. I don't know.
Okay, I could see that.
I don't know what it is, but he might not want to come here. But that's
my
rumor.
I was noticing on social media because I paid zero attention to the NHL over the weekend. But we're mad because we didn't do much. Is that what everyone's mad about?
We didn't do much because everybody stayed with their own team. Nobody. These guys didn't hit the free agent. There was no big free agent market to have.
And they didn't have a first-round pick, correct?
No, they didn't have a first-round pick. They traded him for that defenseman who was the 6th overall once. But yeah, the big thing was the Bennett kid from Florida, Well, he re-signed with Florida. And Jonathan Toews is coming back, and somebody said, who the hell wants him? He's 38 years old. And there just wasn't many great players that hit the free agent market, so they wanted to do something. They just did. Now
there were no options.
Now they're saying, boy, we're really going to get a lot of guys next year because we're going to have all this. But they're going to be well under the cap, I would guess. They let my guy Freddie Gaudreau go.
I saw they traded him for a pick.
They must have thought they were going to get somebody.
Well, and don't we need centers? I thought we need centers.
Especially we're mad with Rossi, and now I was reading Judd's Substack thing, and Judd, if you want to, Judd's Mr. Hockey, man.
Yes.
And he said they're going to have to kiss and make up with Marco Rossi after basically letting him know they really didn't want him back. Now, because I don't know, there's something they don't like about him. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But I just... doesn't seem right that they're not going to do something big after giving everybody the promise. And McDavid wants out. We got the.
Is that the Reusse Scoop? We
got the communists to trade for him. So anyway, Kaprizov is beyond that. I'd rather have McDavid than him, but not by that much.
Right.
So who else? If you're going to trade McDavid, who else can you get back for him?
Will that sit well with the local fan base, do you think? Because don't we love Kaprizov?
We'd go crazy for McDavid, though.
Okay.
McDavid's the best player there is, I think. But then again, I watch 12 minutes a year. So that could be. From what I've heard,
sure.
Highlights
Sources tell me.
Highlights I've seen. I was saying, we got to tighten the borders on hockey, man. We got to... where's Trump when we need him? Let's tighten the borders on hockey. God Almighty! You look at the draft now, and it's all Swedes and Finns and Russians and.
Well, I got to tell you too. One of the things it hit me because I saw one over the weekend with the NHL draft, but it also happened last week with the NBA draft when. And I know I'm not 25 anymore.
Yeah.
But when the parents now of the draft picks are younger than me,
yes, that's bad.
That's when I start to go, okay.
Yeah,
including, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but Dylan Harper's mother was a very big hit on draft night.
Oh, really?
I'll say.
Was she scantily clad?
Very attractive young lady.
You know who else was a hit? The South Carolina basketball star who was there supporting her boyfriend. With her boyfriend. And she didn't have excess material on that.
She did
I mean,
not.
it kind of hung long, but it was the upper half of it was not overly.
I saw a tweet about that. It said something to the effect of DVR's hitting pause right now.
Yes, she was an attractive young lady too. I can't remember her as being one of the South Carolina Stars, but I did watch them to some degree. But what's the big rumor? Dawn Staley's going to coach the Knicks? I don't think.
Come on.
That's what somebody was trying to spread that. Or that's who the Knicks should hire or something, Dawn Staley.
Well, why did these idiots fire Tibbs?
I don't know.
He just got you he got you within.
Yes. And you owe him damn near $30 million.
Well, what was pointed out too, Pat, is I did not know this, but the GM there was Tibbs' old agent.
Oh, Leon Rose.
So apparently,
Leon Rose didn't want to do this, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Because the rumor
you know
was
who the number two basketball guy is? Gerson.
Oh, that's right.
And that might be why, even though Norrie wasn't with us when Gerson was here, I don't think Norrie got
interviewed.
Got interviewed.
Okay.
But what did I read? Everybody's. You had the big feud going between Mad Dog and his Mad Dog Mike, his old partner.
Oh, okay.
The two guys.
Yep.
Now, who's the guy that falls asleep on the show? Mike. What's his name?
Francesa. Yeah.
Francesa and the Dolans are tight.
Okay.
Jim Dolan, who's a very unpopular guy, but Francesa is always defending him, and apparently when Francesa goes to a Knicks game, he's like in the second row and treated royally. So
tough to believe Domino's has never had stuffed crust pizza until now, right? Well, it's here. And it's delicious. It's stuffed with melty cheese, baked with melty cheese, and sprinkled with garlic seasoning and real Parmesan. Yep, that's even more cheese. Order Domino's new Parmesan stuffed crust pizza for $10.99 each when you mix and match 2 or more items. Price is higher for some locations. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Delivery orders subject to local store's delivery charge. 2-item minimum. For additional terms and conditions, visit Domino's.com.
Mad Dog is putting it all on Dolan, firing Tibbs. And then Francesa is saying, no, it wasn't. It was Leon Rose that fired Tibbs. So, doesn't make sense that Leon Rose brought him in there, and who decided to get rid of him, I don't know, but everybody says Dolan. No, not everybody.
Except for Francesa.
Francesa and his believers. But Tibbs was more popular than I thought, because they won. Yeah, they got to the Eastern. I thought they'd be mad at him because they lost to Indiana, but the Knicks fans. This is the furthest they've been
since '99.
'99, yeah.
When they lost to, didn't they lose to the Rockets? Mm-hmm. Wasn't that the Rockets in the finals?
Yeah, Hakeem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
or was it? No, it was the Spurs. I think it was the Spurs.
Yeah, it was the Spurs. Excuse me, it was the Spurs. How about my guy Sweeney? Moved from the Mavericks to the Spurs, I saw, as the defensive coach. So I think he read the tea leaves and saw who was going to be better for a few years. He'd rather have the big 7'5" guy to play defense in the middle and try to figure out how to run a defense around that guy.
Because we got
the West is going to be tough again, man.
Well, especially now that, when Katie got traded and you're looking at just the landscape and you're thinking, there's not really that many bad teams in the West.
No.
I mean, the Kings aren't very good.
You know who's got a chance to stink? The Lakers. They got a chance to be about an 11.
At the low price of $10 billion.
At the low price of $10 billion. And LeBron decided to re-up. It was his option for what, 54.2?
Something like that, yeah. It was north of 50.
Yes.
What a country.
He had a hell of a year for age 42. Oh, my God. Meanwhile, did you see that our guy Bees might be in trouble? Did you see?
Not only that, But clips started to surface of, I don't know if you saw this one. I retweeted it this morning. And it was the Timberwolves were down 9, 5 seconds to go. And the over-under was 7.5, I think.
Oh.
And Beasley, motioned to Cat, inbound the balls after a free throw.
Yeah.
And he sprinted down to the other end and did a quick layup. And everyone's like, what are you doing? The game's over. But it was, the over-under was 8.5, and it was a 9-point game.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you mean the point spread was 8.5.
Point spread, I'm sorry, point spread, yeah.
So they're looking back all that. See, I didn't read the story of how far back they're looking.
Yeah, because it was a clip when he was playing with the Wolves.
Well, one thing the public learned: don't stop and look at your cell phone in front of Bees' house.
No,
you might not.
Here, I'm going to pull it up. I know this isn't going to make for great podcast, but I got to show this to you because it's so blatantly obvious what he was trying to do, Patrick.
Oh, really?
So here's Beasley. Can you see that?
No.
So here he is, 118, 110, 5 seconds to go, and look at him. He's right here. Here, give me the ball. And he's running down the court all the way coast to coast for an uncontested slam dunk with 0.4 seconds to go.
Now, so what was it for point spread or over and under?
I think it was the spread was 8.5. Malik Beasley going coast to coast with 5 seconds left to cut the lead from 9 to 7.
Really? So it was 8.5?
Yes. So he
and we were losing.
And we were down.
Yeah.
We were
just
down.
running up there, forget the 2-pointer. Somebody, I wonder, that's probably, so if that's on the internet,
that's on social
part
media.
Of the evidence.
Yes.
Then,
which is
what an idiot.
And he was going to make a lot of money in free agency.
Oh, God, yes. He can shoot. I mean, he can shoot. He's crazy.
But he's a grade A knucklehead, man.
Oh, yeah. He's not the Beasley that cost David Kahn $50,000, though.
No, that was Michael Beasley. Michael Beasley.
He smokes a lot of what do you call it?
I gotta find that in here.
I don't know. Yes, and I tried to get a hold of him during the play of this playoff run, and he did not respond. I had his cell phone, and it answered, "This is David Kahn," but he never called me back.
Oh, darn it. I thought I saved that clip because that was a great one.
Yes.
We understand what Michael does with...
But he's promised me that he's not going to do it anymore. And Mackie and I were doing this at 11 o'clock in the morning, the interview before the show starts, and we go...
What?
We immediately put it on the 1500 ESPN website and got him. He got fined $50,000, and Glenn Taylor got fined $50,000 for that one.
Do you think old Glenn saw that $10 billion figure and said, probably should have held out for a little bit more?
Yeah, he told me when I talked to him at that Lynx game that the day after the political murders that he said I'm okay with it. He said, but
because does he still have a portion?
There are people. No, but I think there are some people said that I've seen that suggested because of his limited partners. He had to try to fight it to not, because, otherwise some of those guys might try to sue him or something for selling too cheap or something. So I don't know if that's true or not. But, he's, I said these guys probably got it for 30% of what it's worth. What are you worth? If the Lakers are worth 10, is this team worth 5? Because the Lakers don't have a great arena.
No, they don't even own it. It's owned by the Kings, the hockey team.
Yeah, that's
and they
right.
pay rent to the facility. So, I would guess 3, maybe 4.
Oh, it's worth more than 3.
You think so?
They already was.
I suppose with the TV deal alone.
Yeah. It's just the popularity of the league now. Yeah. At least 4.
So you could, if you're the Bus family and you sold for $10 million, you could buy the Wolves and the Twins.
That's right. Twins. I had somebody told me they turned down 1.5 and told somebody that isn't even close to what it's going to cost. But then again, you see Tampa sell for 1.7. So.
Oh, that did go through?
That's supposedly what it's going to cost. Plus, the guy's got to build his stadium.
And he's got to build a stadium.
Boy, there's a lot of people with bleep you money, isn't there?
Oh,
that it doesn't make.
And here we are working on the week of the 4th of July.
That owns the Dodgers. What did he the Lakers?
It's real estate, right? Isn't that his money?
The PWHL he started.
Yep.
He just gave money. I think he's henpecked too. Because why else would he start the women's hockey league? He must have a wife who likes women's sports or something. I mean, what you know.
You mean he's a master of the game of flaws?
Yeah.
Here, honey, I bought you a hockey league.
That's good. Now, for instance, if the fob stops working, if her fob starts working, he probably has a better solution than I would have had, right?
I washed your key fob in my jeans.
Instead of getting a new fob, we'll get you a new car.
That's
okay,
right.
honey, a new Ferrari or whatever the hell you drive.
Do you want a white one this time?
What is his money? Real estate?
I thought it was real estate.
Not commercial real estate.
No.
It must be real estate.
Either that or I'm confusing him with somebody else, but I thought it was real estate.
The mayor's off all week. Who we got filling in?
Tom Hauser filled in today, and he'll be back on Wednesday, and Pat Garofalo will be in tomorrow for Joe.
And then you boys taking Thursday
Friday are company holidays.
July 4th Eve off, for God's sakes. So what... You know, it used to be a big weekend for Tom Ball and July 4th, and now a lot of people just don't play that.
Well, we have
right?
a makeup game tomorrow night that we got to get in, but other than that, we're off.
The influence of wives in town team baseball is much stronger than it used to be. The holidays. We're going to the lake for the holidays.
But the biggest thing is, Pat, we were actually talking about this at the Brewers game last night. The problem is if you schedule a game on the 4th, you aren't going to get any guys to show up to play.
Yeah, that's
what I mean. Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
they all go to the lake. So
yep.
Anyway, all righty.
Hey, how about
I got to sell you a car here, right?
Yep.
Jim Paul and Brett. Hey, there's July 4th. There's always stuff going on.
That's true.
Far as
That's
deals
a good point.
at the car dealership, and that's happening right now. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers out in Apple Valley. Those Buick SUVs are marvelous. There is also a large inventory of the very models, including the Invista, Suchi's favorite. Suchi thinks that Invista is fantastic, the smaller one. And anyway, Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers out in Apple Valley. You can look at the website, Valley Group website, and you can look at the inventory. Go out there. Interest rates are low and rebates are high. And they also have financial people out there that will make it happen for you. And I recommend them highly. I've been buying cars there I'm up to about 15 years now. So Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley. Get out there. Check it out.
Oops. Go ahead.
Always up to date here, the headquarters for hockey information. Monday night sports talk with Joe.
Yes!
We'll forget the Jew. When Joe isn't around, we can give you hockey information. Viktor Tarasenko is now a member of the Minnesota Wild, and he used to kill us. He had a lousy year last year, but hey, at least we don't have to bring back Rossi now, right?
That's right.
They can let Rossi go now. Why didn't they just make that the trade, Rossi for Tarasenko?
That's a good question.
Anyway, I really loved that guy at one time, so we'll find out. Maybe he's got a little left. I don't know. Anyway, Joe Suchere is not here today. Joe.
Did you ever wonder how all those clock sounds were made in the beginning of Time by Pink Floyd? Or what was going on when Kurt Cobain wrote Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit? I'm Jan Delane, host of the Behind the Song podcast. Join me for each episode, digging into classic rock's most interesting songs and the history behind them. You might just find a new revelation in the music you've heard all your life. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts and on the Behind the Song YouTube channel. And if you like it, hit subscribe.
Looking for a podcast that takes tragedy and finds the silver lining? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Behind Beautiful Things, a mental health podcast where we discuss difficult stories, but often find the heart, positivity, and joy hidden in the hardest moments of life. On Behind Beautiful Things, we explore the challenging times in our guests' lives with humor and perspective. separating the signal from the noise, reminding each of us that no one is alone. Please come join the conversation. Behind Beautiful Things can be found wherever you get your podcasts. Behind Beautiful Things is brought to you by The Human Condition.